Good morning. Good morning, and happy fall. So, I don't know about you, but this season is like a fresh breath of air for me. Um, kind of is rejuvenating, uh, especially here in the Northeast where we get, a little chill in the air, gets a little cooler, but we still have these beautiful sunny days. So, I just want to say happy fall. And I know that some folks are celebrating or observing Yom Kippur this week, and Rosh Hashanah was last week. So that is the idea of turning the page again in a new year. And this always feels like a new year to me. So it felt like a good opportunity to talk about what we're releasing, what we want to let go. That's no longer serving our well-being. This group is about the overall well-being in mind, body, and spirit of us as women, as powerful leaders, as mothers and sisters and daughters and grandmothers and friends, and community advocates. So I put a post out yesterday, I think it was, and just asking a general question: what is it that you would like to let go of? And I got some really interesting answers. I put it in two places, in this group and then also on my Facebook group, or my personal feed. And I just want to read some of the answers that I got from some of you, keeping them anonymous, so nobody is named here. But procrastination, this is what you all said you want to let go, that is not serving your well-being, right? Letting go of guilt. Yeah, guilt to me is kind of a useless emotion. We do feel it, but it just definitely doesn't serve, right? Letting go of feeling too old to start a new chapter. I thought that was interesting. Letting go, there was a number of you that said you wanted to let go of self-doubt and self-judgment, right? So you might be familiar with those thoughts and those feelings of second guessing yourself, right? Or feeling like an imposter, or worrying that you are too much or too little. Very common, especially for women. Others wanted to let go of lack. Somebody just wrote lack. So in my mind, that makes me think of scarcity, like worrying that I'm not enough, or worrying that I don't have enough. Weight, there was a couple of folks that talked about literal weight, like losing weight from your body. Letting go of avoidance. I think that was interesting. And I checked myself from asking, what are we avoiding? So that's personal, but yeah, we all have that experience too, right? Kind of avoiding something that we know, something's kind of knocking on the door, a feeling or a truth coming through, like this might be something you want to look at, this might be something you need to face, and we're avoiding it in all the ways that we love to avoid things. I have my own wonderful ways of avoiding things, like cleaning out my desk drawers, deciding I need to shop for lots of groceries and cook. That's a wonderful thing to do, but sometimes that's an avoidance tactic for me. And then this one I love, by my dear friend and our sister here in the group, our fellow movement and nutrition expert, Allison, said, leaving the answers are outside of myself. I wanted to highlight that one because we're going to come back to that. That'll be a little bit of a theme for the talk today. Leaving the answers are outside of yourself, right? Which they never actually are. So all of these have something in common. Oh, there's one more that I wanted to share that I thought was really interesting. This person went a little deeper with their answer. The idea that I can't be weird because I'm not pretty enough, or not considered pretty. Right? We have this collective idea of what beauty is, or what prettiness is, which is just a collective thought or agreement that we see out in the social media, the culture that we live in. So I'll go back to some of these, but what I want to share is what all of these things have in common is that they're just thought. They're just thought, right? It's a thought you're thinking when you think that you're not enough, when you think that when you're comparing yourself, compare and despair, I call it, to another person, and you don't think you're pretty enough based on the rules or the ideas that we internalize and that we see presented to us out in our culture. It's a thought that you're thinking. Actually, this is procrastination and avoidance are interesting because procrastination, usually what's going on is there's probably a lot of thinking going on, right? You're supposed to be doing something, but your head is full of like, I'm going to go over here and do this. Procrastination is a form of avoidance. Obviously, those two things are connected. Avoidance, yeah. So I know for me personally, avoiding something means that there's a lot of talk, a lot of noise, even if it's kind of background and I'm not paying attention to it. There's a lot of background chatter about something that I'm not wanting to see or face or look at, right? One quote that I love from a teacher I follow, Sydney Banks, who is, he sort of outlined or brought this idea of the three principles out into the world. Hi, Sharon. Nice to see you. He often says, he was a beautiful man. He was a teacher, he was an enlightened being. He often says, the world would change if we learned to just not be afraid of our own experience. So avoidance to me is something that we're afraid of looking at or seeing or dealing with, right? And again, there's a lot of thinking behind that. That's all thought. We're avoiding it because we're wrapped up in listening to what our mind has to say about it, what our thoughts have to say about it. Instead of coming into a space of, okay, what is it? A space of truth. What is it that I need to deal with here? And facing whatever it is we're afraid of, trusting that we're capable. This is what I wrote back to that person who posted that they were, commented that they were avoiding, they wanted to let go of avoidance. What is it? Look at the thoughts behind the avoidance, and then can you trust yourself? Like, drop in, get quiet, and trust yourself enough to know that you're capable of facing whatever this thing is that you are avoiding. So I hope that's helpful. To look at it as all thought can take the sting away, and help us see that we are all living in the world of thought in our own minds. And another thing that helps me often to look at is that that's innocent, right? We innocently do it. It's part of who we are. It's part of our nature. And we can change. The real pivotal thing here, the message is that we can change our relationship to those thoughts, right? Now, some of you spoke about doing mantras, affirmations, changing up the thoughts. And that's beautiful. If that's helpful for you, that's so beautiful. And I want to say, it isn't always necessary because that's extra thought, that's extra thinking, trying to come up with a mantra. If it works for you and it kind of retrains your focus, which is what the mindfulness practice is all about, then that's great. But what we're really looking for is a feeling, what's underneath all this thinking about not being good enough, lack, not having enough, and even weight. If you're wanting to let go or shed weight, literal weight from your body, I want to invite you to go ahead and look at all the thinking that you have on that and the stories that you create in your mind around often there's like self judgment, self blame, shame around an issue like that. So just start to look. That's really all I want to say today, is just start to look at the noise, the busyness, and is it helpful? Is it not helpful? So if it's not helpful, you can start to let it go. Right. And that's overall, like umbrella, what we're all letting go of with all of these things: procrastination, guilt, laziness. Laziness, that's interesting too. Can you let yourself be lazy when it's warranted? Can you give yourself a break, especially the person that wrote this hasn't been feeling well? So, to my mind, you got to let yourself be when you don't feel well. If you're ill, it's perfectly permissible to rest and be lazy, quote unquote lazy. So that's where we're going today with letting go. So we just start looking at how we're using thought. That's the great equalizer. That's what we all have in common as human beings sharing this planet, is we're using thought helpfully or we're not. When we, in this group, there's me showing you physical, what am I trying to say today? Physical and the physical side of things, the yoga practices, the way, the movement, the qigong. And that's helpful to actually lighten up, to get out of the busy, noisy thinking mind. So that's why for me, that's always the portal, that's always the door in. And then there's this other side of things that I want to keep talking about with you, and that is looking at how we are using thought through this lens of what my teacher Sydney Banks and my coach Grace have been teaching me, because I found it can be really, really helpful. So it's all thought, right? So if we're letting go of guilt, if we're letting go of avoiding, can we first look at what's underlying and not go into dissecting or analyzing the thoughts or the thinking, because that's not helpful either. So we're not doing that. We're just saying, oh, this is the way that I've been thinking. And when you start to see that, when you start to hear how you've been shaming yourself, blaming yourself, how you've been maybe getting wrapped up in a story of why you should feel guilty about something, can you just get a little quieter, relax out of that thinking? Don't be so compelled to look at it, to understand it, and to analyze it. Don't be so compelled to look at it, understand it, or analyze it, those thoughts. Just say to yourself, I just have thinking on this. I have extra thinking on this. That's why you see all these different, here's my notes, all these different thoughts that people have. Some of us have more thinking on doubting ourselves or imposter syndrome. Some of us have more thinking about the weight on our bodies. Some of us have more thinking about the money in our bank and how little of it there is, or how much of it there is, or how there's not enough. So that's where we're going with this. And the other side of it is leaning in. And tell me what you're hearing in this. And then we're going to go into a practice. So the other piece of this that I wanted to bring in is what we're looking for is something fresh, a fresh thought. So thought is not bad. Thinking about things is not bad. Again, is it helpful? Is it not helpful? So when we want something fresh to come in, when we want to experience or get what I call it a download, what do we want to do? We want to kind of relax, rest from all the busyness. And it could be, physical busyness. You could be running around a lot, or mental busyness. We want to rest. We want to come home, even if that's for 5 minutes of breathing. And that's where you're going to find something fresh. That's where you're going to find fresh thinking and insight. Yeah. So I'll just share something that came through for me yesterday. I was on a webinar that was about money, because I have a lot of thinking about money. I'm changing my thinking. I'm experiencing more helpful thinking in that area. And I'm letting go of a lot of the stressful thinking in that area, which has been really, really good for me to relax, because it relaxes my nervous system. So another thing is, like, feeling follows thought, right? Our nervous system follows the stressful thinking. So if you're always in your mind, always worried, have a lot of heavy thinking about something you're avoiding, like we said, or procrastinating, it's going to register, it's going to record in your nervous system. It's all the same thing, right? So, um, so in order to find something fresh, to feel something fresh, we have to be well rested, relaxed, a little more tuned in to how we're feeling and not afraid of our feelings. That's what I said earlier in the first part of the discussion. If we learn to be less afraid, if we learn to trust our capacity and our capability more, and again, that's a feeling, that's not trusting the thinking, like I am, I am good at this. Sometimes that's great. Mantras and affirmations like I am powerful, I got this, the high five thing that Mel Robbins does, those are all fantastic. But if they just live at the level of thought, then they dissipate. If you integrate them into your body and your embodied experience and you live that way, much, much more powerful, right? All right, on that note, thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're here with me. So glad you're here, Sharon. I love it when you show up. Hope you're still here because it's like 6:30 out there, right? So let's just land in our bodies and have this embodied experience. And we're not looking, as I give you this meditation or as we sit and breathe together, it's not like you want to go searching for the insight. You just want to come home to yourself and things will pop through, right? The biggest changes I've made in my life have come through sort of subtle insights, subtle inclinations and nudges. Wisdom speaks quieter than your loud, noisy mind. So, all right, come to rest wherever you are watching this video or with me live now. Roll your shoulders a couple of times. Breathe through your nose, always the cleanest way to breathe. If you can't breathe through your nose, that's okay. You can breathe through your mouth, but try to breathe through your nose if possible. And inhale and exhale. And we're rolling the shoulders down the back just a couple more times. And I'm doing this very gently, not doing big, big, big rolls. All right, and then take a hand up on the chest. And you can take the other hand if you wish to your belly and just feel your breath. Close your eyes if you like. Close your eyes or relax your gaze, but keep your chin level. And heavy in your seat, get heavy in your seat. Relax into your body. Just feel yourself in this body that you're in now. Gravity acting upon it, so you can feel your sitting bones against the chair or the floor, whatever you're sitting on. Breathe in naturally, gently through your nose, in and out. And we'll just do an easy little meditation to help you let go of the stressful thinking. Sometimes it can even be stressful thinking. I got to let go of this. I got to let go of this thing that I've been hanging on to. So we don't want to do that either. Ease and grace, ease and grace. Letting go is a process. There's no arriving, there's no end, there's no perfecting. But just feel the breath coming and going. It's like the tides within you. And you can keep the hands here if that feels soothing to you, or you can release your hands and just rest them. And breathe in through the nose, out the nose. Let's start with a 4-4 breath. We'll start with a breathing practice and then we'll drop into meditation. So breathing in for 4 counts. Make it your own 4 counts. Count silently and breathing out for 4 counts. If you need a little less or a little more, you can make the number lower or higher. You can be 5-5, 6-6. But try to relax. Let your mind have a little bit of focus. Soften it to the quiet counting in your mind, the counting of the 4 in and the 4 out. Good. Let's just do a couple more rounds. One more. Inhale and exhale. As you let the rest of this exhale go, gently squeeze the belly in, empty the breath, and then just return to a natural breathing. Whatever your breath pattern is in this moment is just fine. Beautiful. And then moving into a gentle focus on sensation in the body. So if you want to notice the overall sensation of your body, are you hot? Are you cold? Are you tingly? Are you tired? Are you at peace? Or do you feel revved up internally? Just take a moment to listen and enter that field of awareness in your own body. And then look for tension, or just notice tension. Is there tension in your jaw right now? Your forehead, maybe your low back or your hips. If you need to change position, you can always shift. You can always move. You don't have to sit ramrod straight. And take another refreshing breath in when you're ready. Breathe in. Long breath out. Good. And then notice, as you're noticing the sensations in your body or the tension, is there anything present in your mind? Is there any thought or thinking or pictures or ideas? And we're not analyzing, we're not judging the thinking or the pictures. We're just, with a curious, wakeful awareness, we're just noticing. Noticing if that thinking that's going on in there, or the images, if any of it is stressful, how it might be connected to the tension that you're feeling elsewhere in your body. And then I invite you to release that thought or that picture or that thinking on a breath. You might even exhale, sigh it out as if you're blowing out and releasing the self-doubt, the idea that you're lazy or that you should feel guilty about something, the idea that you lack anything because everything you have is within you, going back to Allison's intention to let go of the idea that anything is outside of yourself, that answers are outside of yourself. So the answers are within. They come in the form of your wisdom. Your wisdom speaks softly. So now that you've let go somewhat, even if it isn't fully, that's okay. Even if it's 1%, that's fine. Come back to a nice, refreshing breath. And ask yourself very gently, internally, with a curiosity, what might you want to lean into? What's a desire you have this fall, this season? It could be as simple as you want to go get a pumpkin spice latte for yourself because that feels delicious. So actually, let's stick with today. What's one desire for your day? What would you like to lean into? Would you like to rest more today? Would you like to call that old friend that's been on your mind or that family member? Would you like to apologize to someone or to yourself? Would you like to call in fun and joy? Maybe put on a song and dance to it today. So, what are you leaning into today? And let's see, how are you doing? Let's check back in. So, when we call in a desire or call up a desire, it can be a little bit like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should want that, or I don't know if I'm able to have that. Let that go. Don't worry about that. Just let it be pure. So, whatever you're noticing, whatever you're feeling, whatever thought you're hearing is the right one. And I would love for you to pop it in the comments what you're leaning into, what you desire for yourself today. Let's take another full breath into that. Stay relaxed in your body, and that's how it comes. That's how we receive and magnetize what we desire. I hope this is still going live with you. I am. Okay. That was just my stressful mind. Did you notice that? My worried mind going like, are they still watching? Is this live right now? All right, take a deep breath, everybody. Exhale it out. And then just stretch your arms out and move in any way that feels good. You can stretch your arms up or out. Just a little like snaking movement in the spine. Release any tension. Oh. Enjoy and bring in a sense of gratitude that you can be here in this moment, in this life, on this planet, when there's so much change happening, that you can be in this vessel that's carrying you, that's helping you lead the way. Trust. So another theme that came up today is trusting yourself, that you have the capability and the capacity, right? To face whatever you're avoiding, to deal with whatever you feel guilty about, to know that you're enough. All right. I love you so much. Thank you for being with me on this live today. And I will tune in more this week. Get ready for some brags on Friday. Okay. Lots of love. Bye.